And that is not the case at all. And so I think that Mr. Ruff, who I think did an excellent job, by the way, and I must say it was a welcome relief from the hyperbole and the rhetoric of last week to have this methodical presentation of the president's case.
Now the White House has 2 more days. What are you looking for?
Well, now what I'm looking for is to take what Mr. Ruff said today and to dissect it even more and to break it down into its constituent parts. You know, Congressman McCollum last week said something that I think is appropriate here, Bernie. He said that you'll find that our case a lot is built on circumstantial evidence and inferences. Well, that may be enough sometimes in a criminal case from which you can have an appeal. But what Mr. Ruff has done is shown that these inferences and circumstantial evidence certainly doesn't add up to an impeachable offense.
Now, in a short while, a couple of hours, in fact, by point of fact, you're going to be crossing over to the other body. You and other senators are going to sit in the chamber of the House of Representatives, and you're going to listen to the President of the United States deliver his State of the Union address. Any concerns that the hour or so during which he will address the American people won't get through, will not resonate because of what's happening in your chamber, the Senate, the impeachment trial of the President?
Bernie, I think just the opposite. I think that what the President's going to say tonight will resonate with the American people. I have heard so many times and phone calls from people all over this country, why don't you get on with the country's business? Well, here is the President getting on with the business of this country. And I believe when he makes his State of the Union, the American people are going to say, yes, that's what we should be doing in Washington.
But yet, tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, you'll be back at a trial.
Well, we have to be. It's in our laps, and so we have to deal with it. I am just, again, hopeful that we can bring this to a rapid conclusion, that it doesn't drag on for weeks and weeks and maybe even months.
Do you agree with Senator Barbara Boxer that the Republicans are trying to drag this out in their call for witnesses?
Well, certainly in their call for witnesses, it is going to drag it out. You can't escape that. If there's going to be witnesses, there's going to be depositions. And if there's going to be depositions, we want to make sure that each witness is deposed separately so that we can be there for the deposition, not bunch them all together. And then you're going to have to debate whether or not to bring those witnesses on the floor. The questions of those witnesses could go on for days and weeks. Just by its very nature, if we have witnesses, we're going to be here a long time.
Senator Tom Harkin, Democrat, Iowa. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Quite welcome. Judy?
Well, in anticipation that the President, Senator Harkin said, is going to be doing his job tonight, getting on with the nation's business and making the State of the Union address. In another part of the Capitol, the Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott is making some, you might say, preemptive remarks at this point, talking about taxes. Let's listen.
Hardworking people in that lowest bracket, that would make a difference. Now, some people say, what about the targeted tax cuts? Well, I guess they're better than none, but it's the old Washington solution. Take it from the worker, bring it to Washington, Washington takes the parts it wants, and then return it back to the people in a way that we tell them that they can have a tax credit or whatever tax break. We think the best way to do it is have the across-the-board tax rate cut, make sure that every dollar is used in the best way for the families in America. Americans are overworked and overtaxed. What we seek is smaller, smarter government, less Washington government spending, more money back with the people that earned it in the first place, and more discretion for them to use it in the best way that they see fit. We're learning that the best ideas in Washington don't come from Congress or the White House. They come from the American people. And when I go home, the elderly, my constituents, including my mother, say, make sure the Social Security is there for me. But my daughter and my son and my daughter's fiance say, we don't believe Social Security is going to be there for us. That is a sad commentary when you've got something like 7% of the younger generation that don't believe it'll be there for them. We need to find a way to save it for the elderly people, but also to make sure we'll have a program that will be there for our younger generation. And also, when I go to my blue-collar hometown and we talk about money coming to Washington or versus tax relief for them or tax rate cuts, they have a preference. They ask about the tax credits or eliminating the marriage penalty. Obviously, they think that's unfair. But if you give them a choice, they'll tell you every time, give us the tax rate cuts. Well, that's all I wanted to say for now. We'll be talking with you more later on tonight and tomorrow. I will take just a question or two. Go ahead.
Quickly, I mean, what are your thoughts on what the President has proposed so far in terms of Social Security?
I have not had a chance to look at the details of what he seems to be proposing, but it looks to me like it does not provide the long-term solution that we were looking for. And there were some curious things, as I understand it, even something to do with defense that would come out of the surplus. So I think it's premature to comment on that, but I want him to not only comment, I want to see a proposal, and then no matter what he proposes, we need to work together to begin to move this through the process. We have an opportunity, we have a window that we can do this, and I think we should make every effort to do it. Bobby?
Tax cuts, which does not seem to go across the board like
Well, it's the targeted tax cuts. Some of them have attractiveness. I mean, I have to acknowledge that. But then, you know, I generally like tax cuts or tax credits most of the time. But I think the preferable way to do it is, rather than picking and choosing winners and losers, or having, you know, Nanny Washington tell you how you're going to be able to use your money or tax credit here or there, wouldn't it be preferable to have a rate cut across the board, let the people decide? I think the record is clear. That type of tax reduction creates more economic growth, more economic activity. So that's preferable. But I'm not prepared to dismiss all of his proposals out of hand. I think the first day of the legislative process for the State of the Union, we ought to listen to what he proposes and begin the hearings process. And, you know, some of them will very likely get through the whole process. Well, I don't want to...
Senator Trent Lott of Mississippi, the Republican majority leader in the Senate. Not only we're going to have a rebuttal, or rather a reaction response to the President's State of the Union tonight, we are having an anticipation of the President's State of the Union. We heard just a portion of what Senator Lott was talking about there. The Republicans very much would like to see the budget surplus that has materialized this year and into the coming years spent to return it, in at least part of it, in the form of tax cuts to the American people. President Clinton, we are told, will say tonight that he believes that a portion of the surplus should go toward Social Security and shoring up the Social Security tax fund, or rather trust fund. In just a word, tonight at 8 o'clock, CNN's coverage of the State of the Union will begin. The President is scheduled at 9 o'clock to begin to speak to a joint session of Congress. That will be followed here on CNN by the Republican response. I'm Judy Woodruff with Bernard Shaw. Bernie, right after this break, we will come back with Burden of Proof with Roger Cossack and Greta Van Susteren, and you and I will be right back in these chairs.
In about 19 minutes.
In about 19 minutes. We'll be back. Thank you.
You are a superhero to someone. So act like one and take a better vitamin. Mega Men multivitamins, exclusively from General Nutrition Centers, with 41 premium ingredients for men, including things like saw palmetto, ginseng, and natural vitamin E that other brands don't have. So it's more than just a multivitamin. Take care of yourself, superhero. Someone's watching you. GNC. Live well.
Every year I say, I'm going to quit smoking. Day later, I'm at it again. Till this year. See this? My last piece of Nicorette gum. Been smoke-free with Nicorette now for 12 weeks. With Nicorette, I help control my cravings 2 ways. I used it on a regular schedule to help curb them, and then for unexpected cravings, I took another piece. And now, no more craving, no more nicotine. Happy New Year.
Only Nicorette helps you control your cravings, your habit, 2 ways. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
Which discount broker can give me the service I deserve and the access I need?
Quick & Riley. Our personal brokers are available 24 hours a day to answer questions, place trades, and more. You'll work with an investment professional who gives you the information essential to investing wisely. Help is as close as the nearest phone or one of over 115 investor centers nationwide. You can check on your accounts and place trades with Easy Trade Touch Tone service or invest using the internet with Q&R online. Either way, you save an additional 10% on our low commissions, up to 73% less than Merrill Lynch or Solomon Smith Barney, and up to 33% less than Schwab or Fidelity. To open an account, call 1-800-999-9320 and receive a 3-month subscription to Standard & Poor's newsletter, The Outlook, free. Just another way you get more for less at Quick & Riley.